Biden appears to be losing steam in the polls. Former President Trump has a significant lead over Biden in 6 of the 7 key battleground states. So the president's gaffes are not helping. Watch.
We come back here to the state of Florida, where Ron DeSantis felt like he needed to run for president, and so 15 weeks wasn't good enough. We had to go to 6 weeks.
Anyway, besides, I used to drive an 18-wheeler. You know what I did? And one of the things that, for me, I got involved when I was a kid in electoral politics out of the civil rights movement. Look, a couple things I want to say. One of the things that earlier today I spoke about, I was up in Washington.
And just for the record, President Biden did not speak in Washington yesterday. Charles, the lies keep on coming.
Did he drive an 18-wheeler?
I mean.
It's interesting because I saw someone complaining about Donald Trump exaggerating. There's a big difference between exaggerating and just lying. Now, maybe it's memory, but it's one after another. And from the Obama administration, I used to have this tape, this DVD with all Biden gaffes. It was amazing. This next one's going to be like, forget about it. But it is frustrating in the sense that he just does it. The crowd claps. It's never reported on. It's never pounced on, and even not by the mainstream media. No one knows about this unless they watch Fox or a couple other smaller networks. And he's reading this stuff and still getting it wrong. So, forgetting about politics for a moment, do you want your commander-in-chief to be someone who can't even read off an index card a few lines in front of a small crowd? Looks like a little community, VF office. It doesn't even. It seems almost surreal, like a comedy plot that you would submit to a major network. Like, hey, I've got an idea, for a show because it's this president, yada yada. Now they may kick you out of the studio, say that's too fantastical, could never happen. But it does not. It seems almost surreal at this point.
I'll let you answer that.
Well, the first thing, when you said there's a difference between exaggeration and a lie, I just had to say, I won the election, it was rigged, those are some lies, and I could go on and on. Look, from my perspective, whenever Joe Biden messes up a word, I hear about it across the board. I don't hear the same with former President Trump. This morning I didn't.
He's under gag order right now. You're probably not going to hear much.
This morning I did an interview, and I full confession, and I said the people of Pakistan. I didn't say the Palestinian territory supporters, of Pakistan, not Palestine. Now, in my defense, I had not finished my first cup of coffee,
right.
But at the same time, am I demented?
It always offends me when people talk to me and us like we're dumb. What you make is such a dumb example. We know what we're not. We're not talking about you or me or her, anyone making a case for gaff. We're talking about gaff after gaff after gaff. No, you're not dumb. You're insulting. Gaff after gaff after gaff after gaff after gaff.
No, but it's not just a word. Rafa and Haifa. Imagine him on the phone with a foreign leader, and he confuses Rafa and Haifa.
It's every day. It's every day. It's something.
It's just a slip of the tongue. It is not just a slip of the tongue. He does it each and every speech. This is why, Leslie, each and every poll shows the American voters, a majority do not think he has the mental acuity. Even Democratic voters, I've seen polls that show this. So to act like this is a one-off, and he's the same as Donald Trump.
I never said it was a one-off. What I'm saying is I think it's normal for people to make gaffes. I use notes when I give speeches. Okay. I'm not running for president, but at the same time.
I've known Leslie for a decade, and we still look the same about this, by the way. You do a radio show for hours. It's rare for you to mix things up. And I would hope that would be the case, because you're good at what you do, and your mind is sharp. I'm not so certain that he's good at what he does, or that his mind is sharp. But there are two words that I really, really, with all my heart, wish he hadn't said. Minor incursion.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that was on a card, if that was a gaffe, if that was a lie, if that was his fantasy about what foreign policy would work, but that was the biggest gaffe that I think he will ever regret. Now, the other thing he didn't say was looking at his watch when the caskets were on the tarmac that had just come back from Afghanistan with those families, those flag-draped caskets of the 13 Americans who died on his watch because of the way that he chose not to listen to the generals and pull out ineffectively out of Afghanistan after 20 years of war. So there have been some things that he's done and some words that he has said. They are gaffy, And they are huge mistakes, big ramifications for the rest of the world. So I understand what you're saying. We do all make mistakes. I've made that similar mistake, by the way, that you've said, right? And I've called Palestine, Ohio, Palestine, and it breaks my heart. I'm like, I do know the difference. I'm not dumb. But we make those mistakes. We correct them. We try to in real time, and we move on. This is something different. This is the leader of the free world, and he is losing credibility even on his own side of the aisle, as Kaylee has pointed out. This is serious business, and it's not age and acuity only. I think this is kind of who he is.
Yes. And I think who he is, too, reflects a frankly insulting nature, like genuflecting during someone talking about abortion. Perhaps that's why the Michigan bishop called him this weekend stupid. Coming up, the American dream is slowly dying as a growing number of Americans believe that they will never be able to own a home. We'll discuss that next.